Key bindings are one of the most important things in Star Citizen. While you don't have to copy other people's key bindings one-to-one, there are certain aspects that need to be maintained with every key binding. Today, I'm going to teach you what those aspects are. We're going to cover all the way from mouse and keyboard to dual sticks and pedals. Make sure to scroll the timeline below so that you can find the places in this tutorial that apply to you. And always check my description as I have further information that could pertain to the video with updates and news. First, let's go into a timeline of the best possible upgrades that you can do gradually over time. The first thing you should get, if you don't already have, is a mouse with buttons on the side. This is going to be important later, but in general it will give you more options with any game that you play. The second upgrade would be a left-handed joystick. While many people recommend you jump into dual stick, I think it's much more efficient to just get a left-handed stick first if you're low on budget. Not only is it the most financially easy path to take, but this is actually one of the best competitive setups in the game, as mouse offers incredible control and precision, while joystick allows you to move around with much more reliability and control. Another really great alternative is to skip sticks and go straight for a pedal. Now if you do this, I highly recommend getting a flight pedal, something that allows you to shift the pedals and also toe brakes to tilt the pedals, as having pedals with mouse and keyboard will allow you to do fine aim tuning on your aim and movement, keeping the fast inputs of strafes on your keyboard and the high precision aim on your mouse. The next step would be deciding whether you want dual sticks or pedals. If you go with mouse and keyboard mixed in with pedals, then the only other option would be going straight into dual sticks or just a left-handed stick. And if you went with the route of just getting a left-handed stick, then the next choice is either pedals or dual sticks. Let's go over dual stick configuration. While you can use any stick that you want for your left hand, for your right hand, it is important that you buy a precise and durable stick, as you're not going to get the accuracy that you had with mouse. That said, the VKB NXT series will get you pretty close. If you feel that this is a game you're going to be playing for years to come, I then recommend investing into more expensive sticks, like the VKB Gunfighter series or some Virpil sticks. If you want the absolute best in machining and precision, Virpil will be the best. Pedals are an absolute must if you're serious about PvP. If not, they're not that big of a deal. Now I know that's a very bold statement, but we'll come back to this later as it has to do a lot with key bindings. Having pedals won't make you a god in the game, but it will definitely aid in your progression as a PvPer. That said, from an immersion standpoint, pedals are also a must. The good thing is, you can find pedals for a pretty inexpensive price if you look around enough on eBay. And I know what you're thinking, racing pedals for a flight simulator? Well, they actually have a couple of advantages. First, they're usually less expensive than using flight pedals. They're also very easy to mod by replacing the springs for light springs, making them very easy to fling back and forth as needed. This allows for very quick changes in speed. And third, they have a very small profile, so they're easier to fit if you're limited on how much width you have under your desk. That said, if you can't find any race pedals for less than flight pedals, or if you're going straight from mouse and keyboard to pedals, then I would recommend going with flight pedals. If you take this route, then I wouldn't suggest anything that doesn't have toe brakes, as it will give you the ability to have both roll and your forward and back strafe at the control of your feet. This will open up your hands for better aim and control of your flight. Now that we've covered controls, let's go over key bindings. I want to start by giving you the most important key bindings that are a must bind on quick access. This means that anything in this list needs to be easily identifiable and clickable as you're flying around in the verse. Where you select to place these keys is up to you, but keep in mind that there are many keys that can be bound overlapping with other keys, as they can't usually be activated at the same time. While the main focus of this video is to teach you what is important and why it is important, I will also have a list at the end that shows you my personal key bindings to give you a better idea of how I bound my items. Let's go over mouse and keyboard. By default in Star Citizen, your A and D are your strafe left and right, while your W and S is throttle forward and throttle back. This is something you actually want to change. You want to convert your W and S to strafe up and strafe down, because the most important thing in combat movement in Star Citizen is your strafe direction. Your forward and rear thrust are usually held down for extended periods of time depending on what's required. Having a configuration of WSAD for strafes makes it much easier to do these actions. We're not going to do much to the mouse, as pitch and yaw are perfect for aim, but now you have to decide where you want your forward and back and your roll. This is subjective, so it's really up to you, but remember, you can bind either one of these to the buttons on your mouse. Just something to keep in mind. For pedals, it's very straightforward. While normally I'm in favor of forward and rear thrust on pedals, if you're on mouse and keyboard, I recommend using your pedals for your roll. And if you have pedals with toe brake, you can use both forward and rear thrust and roll. For any other configuration, it's highly subjective, but my personal recommendation is always forward and back thrust, as it's very easy to fling these around on your pedals. It also gives you the ability to control distance without accidentally putting forward and rear thrust when using it on any other input. Though granted, this may not be an issue with whatever setup you're currently using. It's just something to look out for. The reason this happens is because it's very easy to adjust for mistakes when you see a roll or a strafe direction, as it's very obvious, but it's harder to identify when we're accidentally moving forward or back. Now that you understand a lot of these concepts and why we do these things, let's go over dual sticks. For the right stick, it's pretty simple. You want yaw on your x-axis, which is shifting your stick left and right, and you want pitch on your y-axis, which is shifting your stick up and down. Once you bind these, go ahead and give it a try. If it feels weird, you can try inverting either your X or Y axis, but I would imagine most of you would be fine with just inverting the Y axis. Plus, who the hell inverts X? Do not assign anything on your twist on your right hand. Having roll or speed on your right twist will be detrimental to your aim, as you're overloading your hand that is responsible for aiming, which is already a pretty intense job. Now let's cover the left. On the left, we're going to have all our strafe directions. We want strafe left and right on our x-axis, which is shifting it to the left and to the right, and we want strafe up and strafe down on the y-axis, which is shifting it forward and back. While I don't see why you would ever invert x-axis here again, it is possible to feel more comfortable with y-axis inverted. This is something for you to try out and see what feels more natural to you. And for twist, or your z-axis, we're going to apply roll. The final thing we have to bind is our forward and rear thrust. Now if you have pedals, this is a no-brainer, just put it on your pedals. But if you don't have pedals yet and you came straight to dual sticks, then you have to decide what button would be best for you to press for forward and rear. There is two methods you can use. If your stick has an analog stick, you can use the analog stick's y-axis as your forward and rear thrust. If it doesn't, you can use buttons. Just find whatever feels most natural and easy for you to press during combat, and this will be the go-to. You're going to lose your analog control of speed, but in combat you usually need either full speed forward or full speed back. There usually isn't an in-between. For landings you might want more gradual change, but that's what the speed limiter and decoupled flight mode is for. As promised, here's a photo of my configuration for my sticks and pedals, with some key legends in the middle. If you want to get better at combat, make sure to check out my Twitch, where I often do live trainings, or check the Discord, where we have a bunch of helpful people who have also joined. That's it for this video, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.